Welcome back. Let's bring in our panel right now. With us here in studio today, UIndy political science professor Dr. Laura Wilson, 2016 vice chair for the Indiana Trump campaign, Tony Samuel, along with two former state lawmakers, former Democratic Representative Terry Austin and former Republican Representative Mike Murphy. Great to have you all with us. Mike, I'll start with you and your thoughts on some of these new charges the former president now faces, including obstruction involving allegations that he asked a staffer to delete camera footage from Mar-a-Lago. How damaging are these new charges amidst the others he could still face?
Well, they're just starting to pile up on him. I mean, as they said during Watergate, it's usually not the crime, it's the cover-up that gets you in prison. And I think that's the same thing happening with Trump. And this doesn't even count Georgia or the illegal effort to overturn the 2020 election. So we have two more sets of indictments likely coming. The bottom line is he's what psychiatrists have described him as for years. He's a malignant narcissist. He's never going to change. He's a very sick man.
So, Mike, among those in the Republican Party, if you couldn't tell there, who think it's time to move on from the former president, but Terry, it remains to be seen if all of this is going to matter to Republican primary voters more broadly beyond Mike Murphy, but will it matter to moderate voters in the middle, in the general election?
I think many of those folks have already made up their mind and have left the Trump bandwagon. But for those of his followers who will go through thick and thin, it's not going to make a bit of difference. It may peel off some additional ones, but I don't think that much.
Tony, are you concerned this is just the latest in a long line of charges that he could face?
Well, the line is getting longer, and I've said before, yeah, there'll probably be 4 indictments before this is all over. I think the third's coming soon, and then there's 4. That doesn't mean he's guilty and he's going to be found guilty on any of these. These are
he'll have his day in court.
These are charges.
Which could come in the middle of the primaries or after.
Absolutely. Yeah. What's happening is election interference like we've never seen before. When you look at the 538 polling data, a compilation of all the polls through July, he's still leading Biden in just about every poll. He's leading DeSantis by a whole bunch. He's leading the whole field by 30 to 40 points. That's not going to change. And I've said it before, and I'll try not to keep repeating myself, but it's because folks know what he accomplished and the things that they've seen in the 2.5 going to 3 years since he's been in office is a destruction of the country in so many different ways: crime, the border, drugs, fentanyl, on and on. So that's why they support him and will continue to.
Mike Pence has tried to draw that fine line, saying he supports their accomplishments of the administration, but not the president's actions since and on January 6th. Laura, this comes at a time where it seems our politics has become more and more defined by these crises and controversies, whether it's Republicans now looking into potential impeachment inquiries on the Hunter Biden probe or these latest charges that face President Trump now. This is American politics in 2023.
It is, and we always say, wow, it's so polarized. I wonder why it's so polarized. And then you have all these crises coming up for any individual candidate, any given candidate. I think the hard thing for voters to really rationally look at the candidates and the issues, making decisions to cut through, quite frankly, the noise, but also to go beyond just what the headlines are. And I think it's hard for Republicans, for Democrats, for independents to break through that. But quite frankly, that is what we see in this particular election cycle in 2023. And of course, we're still a year away from the presidential.
We'll try to break through some of that noise here, though there have been so many headlines to talk about. We're also looking ahead to the 2024 elections here in Indiana and this increasingly crowded Republican primary in the race for governor. Mike, we had the interview earlier with Curtis Hill. He's calling for the elimination of Indiana's Office of Equity and Inclusion. Suzanne Crouch, in various ways, trying to position herself in a number of more conservative issues. What will this primary look like as candidates continue to try and gain support within the party space?
Well, as I said last week, there's two ends to it. There's the grassroots, which I think, frankly, Suzanne Crouch has a little bit of a lead in. She's very well known. She's very well respected by the grassroots Republicans. And then you have the consultants who are feeding off of the candidates who can write their own check for the entire campaign.
Many of them can.
With Doden, Braun, Chambers, if he gets in, which I assume he will get in. And so it's going to be money versus grassroots, and generally, money wins.
We'll see what happens. Terry, what's your view across the aisle when it comes to Curtis Hill, the interview we had earlier, and everything that happened with him a few years back? To see him running for governor now, what's your reaction?
Well, it's one more face and personality in the Republican primary. At some point, they're all going to take the gloves off. And that's when it's going to get really interesting. I think the only people who really stand to win from this crowded primary are going to be the television stations, quite honestly.
There will be probably a lot of commercials, political ads, and a lot to discuss, no doubt, too. Tony, if primary voters do find Curtis Hill appealing in this race, and he put out some polling data this past week suggesting that he's doing well, if primary voters find him appealing, is it perhaps because, to some degree, he's been at odds with Governor Holcomb in recent years, as Holcomb draws criticism in recent years from his right flank?
Well, those farther to the right conservatives that you're talking about, they've disagreed with Holcomb on a lot of issues. Curtis Hill is one of those generally, but he's got a voice because he's been Attorney General, he's been the office holder, now he's running for governor. So they will gravitate towards him because he is probably the truest conservative. And this week, calling for the elimination of the Office of Equity and Inclusion, that fits right in with what those conservatives want to see, because they don't like the wokeism. I don't either. I agree with him on the issue, but they don't like the wokeism, the virtue signaling from corporate America and from a lot of governments.
But Laura, no doubt, Curtis Hill will also continue to face questions about those groping allegations that led to the suspension of his law license a few years back. Some very interesting dynamics, certainly, in this primary out of next year.
Oh, absolutely. I think he'll have to continue to face questions about that. And in terms of his strategy with regards to this point, it's probably smart for him looking at his base, because in the first 2 quarters of this year, we're looking at a nearly $5 million campaign between Braun pulling in $2 million. You have 1.8 from Doden, 1 million for Crouch. Like, it's not just a crowded race. This is an expensive gubernatorial race. And who just declared is Curtis Hill. He's behind in terms of money. He's behind in terms of talking points. This gives him a way to connect with voters and try to resonate that base that he needs.
Terry, will we see anyone else jump in the Democratic primary? Right now, it's just Dr. Jennifer McCormick, the former state superintendent, former Republican, running for governor for the Democrats.
I think there are a number of people who are thinking about this, giving it some careful thought.
We will see what happens. Coming up next, we'll hear from Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Plus, we'll look at the impact of a bill dealing with school library books and how to handle any complaints of inappropriate content. Well, stick around. We'll be right back.